It's time for another episode of Chicago's podcast, WNUR 89.3 FM and HD1, Evanston, Chicago. It's Wednesday night at 10:07. We like the 7. It's your main man, Mega, and you are tuned in to another episode of Vintage House. Tonight's episode, as are all episodes, extra special because in studio tonight, I am thrilled to have with me the one and only, the voice of the genre-defining song, Move Your Body, Mr. Curtis McClain.
Mega!
How are you, Curtis?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me, man. I'm doing my, what I call it, my informative tour now.
We are glad that you chose the Vintage House show as a stop on your informative tour, telling the true story of your journey in house music, that which is a historical journey indeed. And so I know that as you've been doing the tour, you've been telling a powerful story, but tonight's show, we want to focus on Curtis McClain.
Okay.
We want to know who is Curtis McClain. So we're going to get that answered, but of course, I want to just take a moment to introduce, for those who may be tuning in for the first time, or for some of our loyal listeners, the Vintage House Show is the premier radio show, podcast, and live stream focused on the history, the business, and the culture that is house music. We're powered by the Modern Dance Music Research and Archiving Foundation, the only foundation focused on the preservation of the stories, the living legends, and the future legacies that comprise house music. And so it's an important mission. We have an incredible archive of artifacts, including records, t-shirts, pluggers, awards, and photographs of some of these icons, legends, and pioneers, which reminds me, we're going to get a photo with you, Curtis, tonight to go into the Vintage House and Dance Music Research Archiving Foundation archive. But we are broadcasting every Wednesday night, 10 p.m., WNUR. As well, you can find our podcast wherever you find your favorite podcast shows. So with that, let's get into it with our guest tonight. Your main man, Mega, is pleased to have Curtis McClain in studio, and we want to know who is Curtis McClain. And where we usually start, Curtis, is with the high school days. Tell us about your high school days and whether or not, well, when you share your high school, we'll know whether it's Chicago high school or were you, as we say, Chicago's that suburb of cities and states like Mississippi, Yazoo City, Jackson, and others. But I think you're a Chicago homegrown native. Am I right? All right. Tell us about it.
Well, started my freshman year at South Shore High School. And we were out in the district. And I was an honor roll student all through grammar school, right? And when I got in high school, that freedom. I couldn't handle that freedom, man. So I was cutting classes, and then they found out that, I wasn't in the district to go to South Shore, so they transferred me to Hirsch. So I went to Hirsch, and that's where I finished up at Hirsch.
Hirsch High School is one of Southside's pride and joy. The transition from one high school to another, how smooth was that? What did your family say in terms of, not being in the district? Were they wanting to comply, or did they, pursue that hard challenge that many Chicago families have with, I want the very best for my kid?
Well, the reason why I went to South Shore is because kind of always followed my older brother, and he went to South Shore. So because he went to South Shore, I went to South Shore.
Ah, okay.
And
The
my best
sibling.
friend, when I was in grammar school, he lived in the South Shore area. So of course he went to South Shore. So I wanted to be with my buddy, and so I'm like, oh man, I gotta get in, South Shore.
Yeah.
So got over there, man. And I was real short when I was in grammar school. I was in the short half of my graduation class.
Wait. The 6 foot tall Curtis McClain was a shorty.
I wasn't even 5 feet in grammar school, and I shot up over the summer vacation after I graduated. And when I walked in the first day of school, and the females was like, ooh, who's this tall, dark, handsome dude? And it messed me up, So I was like, I'm hanging out with them, cutting classes. They out, on their lunch break, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be in class, and I'm hanging out with these young ladies that was, like had little questions on me and stuff, So they was getting their education while I was cutting class. So, that was crazy, but I couldn't handle the freedom, I found out, oh, you don't go to class, nobody know. Because I was grammar school, you sat in the classroom all day, 9 o'clock to 3:15 or whatever and stuff, So then changing classes, like, oh, okay, if I didn't want to go to that class, I wouldn't go. So it was just downhill from there, man. So yeah.
I wouldn't call it downhill. I would call it the age of discovery and self-esteem building, right?
Exactly.
So high school, how special was that time in your life, would you say?
It was pretty special, man. I met a lot of interesting people. I learned a lot of things in high school. Um, it shaped and molded me into a decent human being. Because I had parents and grandparents that instilled morals and values with me, and those are the type of people that I really hung out with when I was in high school. Never, and like I say, the young ladies that I was hanging out with, during their break or lunch period, they was out there smoking reefer. That's what they used to call it back in the day, smoking reefer and drinking their beers and stuff. And I would just sit around, watch them do it, and and they be laughing and tripping, and that was it, man. So but those were good times for me back in the day.
I appreciate the honesty around what was really happening, and what I appreciate even more. And this is a personal perspective, but you talk about values, right? And I get a little bit off track with what Vintage House is all about, but really it is partially about this notion that the love of house is, I think, value centered, right? A lot of people with common values, the respect for life, the respect for one another when it comes to just life, right? There's some nuances to that respect thing that we'll get into, particularly when it's about the business of house, but that's another story. But the fact that you called out values is an important.
Yeah, and that was the reason why after I got into house music, because I never knew what house music was. And then when I got into it and saw the culture and everything was about love, peace, and harmony, I was
there you go.
This is okay. I'm in the right genre of music, and that was the thing, especially back in the day. I mean, everything was so beautiful, man. Everybody embraced each other. You get on here now, man. You go on Facebook, DJs beefing with DJs beefing with artists, DJs beefing with producers. It was just crazy, man. I'm like, come on, man. We don't do this in house. You know what I'm saying? So, but you gonna get it everywhere, and I get that.
It comes with the territory.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's
the times.
That's fair. People are people, right? You can't take the humanity out of everything.
Exactly.
But house is certainly unique. And before we go too deep down that path, though, what transpired then after you left Hirsch High School?
Started working. got a job. Well, actually, I was working when I was in high school.
Okay. Where were you working?
I delivered prescriptions for a guy, the home delivery stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing the home delivery, and most of my jobs have been driver's jobs.
Okay.
So, I like to drive.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm a human GPS is what people call me.
I love that.
But I couldn't find this place. Okay. So, but I was working, and then my girlfriend, she got pregnant, and that little delivery job that I had wasn't gonna cut it. So,
okay.
So I filled out the application, man, for the post office. In fact, I filled out 2 applications for the post office. I scored so high on the carrier test, it made me eligible for this ZMT operator test. I scored higher on that, and that's what they called me for, the ZMT operator. Yeah.
So we got a couple of new names for Curtis. Movie Body McClain. One of them being the human GPS. And just for those tuning in, this episode is about Curtis McClain. We want to get to know him, the man who has historically sort of been cut out of some of the narrative that was very important to major milestone in house music. And so this is the opportunity to learn and share questions that you may have. And Curtis is just going to be an open book tonight.
Right.
So make sure you drop in the comments any questions you have for him. We've moved past his time at Hirsch High School to his first job. And well, now we're at his second job. The post office, USPS. I got a beef with USPS right now, but that's another story for another time.
Well, I got a few with him. So we all got that same story.
But let's talk about those skills that you have. You were there. You had been a driver in your previous role, and there was a certain competency, a certain skill set that the post office tested for and recognized that you had. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
It was basically comprehension, memory. It was basically memory. Could you memorize something that you saw?
Okay.
And I had a pretty good memory. And my comprehension is pretty decent. But it was basically the memory. They would show you like addresses and boxes and stuff like that. And then they would ask you, okay, do you remember what box the address was in?
Was this at the main post office, at one of the branches?
Well, no. When I took the test, actually, when I went to take the test, it was for the main post office. Me and Marshall worked at the main post office.
Okay, you and Marshall being Marshall Jefferson.
Marshall Jefferson, right. We worked at the main post office. Actually, all the guys that was on Movie Body worked at the main post office.
All right, so now we're easing into this house story. So at the USPS main post office in Chicago, we had this group of guys. They were obviously friends with one another. They had some things in common, and they began to spend maybe their breaks together. Talk about what drew this group of 3-4 people together that we're going to talk about and elaborate on.
Well, I came in the building singing. I punch my clock, I'm singing, top 40 stuff. And when people heard me sing, they was like, "Oh, dude, you sing."
Let's set a little more context for our audience. What time frame was this? Was this 2000, 1980?
1982.
Okay,
1982.
all right.
And I always sang. Everywhere I went, I sang. I had some downtime. I would just sing.
Were you at all a church singer?
No.
Okay.
No. I was, when I was a kid, that's what I did. I sang.
The radio was a big influence, or was there someone in your home that sung also?
Well, my mom's, and she wasn't a singer,
Yeah.
but she sounded pretty good.
Okay.
Cupid, draw back. I would listen to my mom sing stuff like that, right?
Some silky R&B.
Exactly, and that was, and I guess they say DJ is a person that plays music, right? So my mom's would be in the kitchen. I was like 2 years old, right? And my mom's would be in the kitchen cooking. And, she had a big console, and she would be like, Curry, put so-and-so on. Couldn't read, but I knew label association. And that's how I knew what the record was. And she might say, put Brooke Benton Kitty-O on. Well, I told you, baby, how I feel. And she said 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds later, Kitty-O was playing, So I was like, wow. And she told me this as I got older and stuff, And I just had a love for music. And I would hear my mom, around there singing, the Sam Cooke stuff, the Drifters. And I just picked it up from her. Now, my dad, he was a big jazz fanatic. Couldn't hold it to him, you know what I'm saying? Because all he listened to was jazz instrumentals, My mom's was the one that really listened to that R&B stuff, So that's where I got it from.
R&B is timeless, and we're certainly thankful for all of the pioneering R&B acts that have left us with incredible treasure troves of music, and certainly for their influence on you. What would you identify as maybe your favorite R&B or most influential R&B artist?
Now, like I say, my mom, she was the music lover for R&B. So when the Motown Review would come to Chicago, they would normally be at the Regal Theater, right?
Yep.
So my mom, she would go the first night because, they would run for like 7 days, 5 to 7 days. So my moms would go the first night to see what time the show started. And she would take me, my brother, and my sister the second night. And I was about, 2 years old, 2 or 3 years. But I remember this stuff like it happened yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And when I saw the Temptations and I saw David and Eddie work that stage, I said, that's what I want to do for you.
Oh,
the Temptations, right?
A clear correlation to a show experience you had with the Ruffins led to Curtis McClain, the singer.
Exactly. But now here's the crazy part, though. When J.B. Ross died, right?
Yes.
They had a memorial for him down at the promontory. Then I performed Move Your Body, right? So I walk off stage and walk to the back of the bar. And this guy walks up on me, he says, Curtis, awesome performance. I said, oh, thank you, man. I said, thank you. And he says, Shelly Berger. I said, why does that name sound so familiar? As soon as he said Motown, we just grabbed each other, man, and just was holding each other, man. He said, Curtis, he said, you got that thing David and Eddie had. It made my career.
Wow.
It really made my career. I was like, I thought I had died and went to heaven, man, with Shelly Berger, man. Come on.
What a powerful compliment of epic proportions. I mean, you're absolutely right and justified in your response and reaction to that kind of encounter.
And I told him that story. I told him, I said, Shelly, when I was this high, and I said, I saw the Temps with David Ruffin. That's when I saw the Temps with David Ruffin.
Yes.
And I said, I saw them work that stage. I said, that's what I want to do for a living. And then when the J5 came out, I was like, this is a done deal.
So your inspiration clearly established in the R&B space. Why not perform R&B songs?
That's what I want to do. That's really what I
What
want to
and what happened? There was clearly a detour of sorts.
Well,
What?
once I got into house music, man, like I said, I didn't know what house music was, but when I got into house music, I fell in love with it, man. So that's my thing now, and the love that they showed me, you know, it was unbelievable, man. I was like, wow, you know.
So let's get a little bit into that story. Many have heard it, some have not, about how you sort of stumbled into house music.
Well, like I say, me and Marshall, a young lady that we both keyed 60659. So it was another station mate. She, she used to come to work with dog collars and spiked wrist, spiked wristband. And we were like, what is this young lady into? We didn't know it was house. We thought she was like a punk rocker.
Well, punk out was
Right,
was
right.
one of the precursors
Right.
to house music.
Right.
Yeah.
So she took Marshall down to the music box. Marshall got turned out. He just got, man, everything was house.
Lower Wacker Drive, the
Right,
music
Lower
box there.
Right. And he went to the music box one time, man, and he was hooked. And we were double dating these two, I guess you could call them best friends.
Were these workplace relationships you're talking
Yeah, we were right. We right. We was, we were both
It's-
dating two young ladies that was on another was in another station.
Okay.
And we were dating them. So, special occasions we would go out and like birthdays, we take each other out for breakfast. I mean, for dinner and stuff, right? As soon as we got done with dinner, oh man, dude, let's go to the music box, man. Like, come on, man, everybody going to no doggone music box. We didn't know what house music was.
Okay.
But I guess he was trying to introduce us to it.
Speaking of house music, there are some loyal viewers, listeners of the show that have tuned in and just wanted to shout them out because they are shouting you out. Louis Green, Linda Red.
Oh, hey, Miss Red, what's up, Louis?
Reggie Davenport.
Oh man, DJ Purple, what's up, brother?
Mika Jones called you legendary.
Hey, Mika. Thank you so much, Mika. Like I say, man, it's, and I've never looked at myself as a celebrity. I mean, even though this is something that I want to do for a living, I just never, looked at myself as a celebrity. I was dating a young lady after Move Your Body came out, and they had a back to school barbecue at her house and stuff. And so she had told all her little nieces and nephews and her cousins and stuff, that, hey, the guy that sings Move Your Body is going to be at the picnic. So I get there. Little guy runs up on me. He's like, you the guy that sings Move Your Body? I said, yeah, man, what's happening? Can I get your autograph? I said, nah, man, you don't want my autograph. I said, I'll shake your hand. So I told my oldest sister about this, right?
Yes.
And so I said, yeah, I said, this little guy wanted my autograph and stuff. And so she said, no, little brother. She said, you should have gave him your autograph because that's something he could have done back to school and said, look, I got the autograph from the guy that sings Move Your Body. And then when I thought about it, I said, wow, if I could have got Eddie and Dave's autograph, how, I knew how I would have felt, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, but I've never looked at myself, as a celebrity,
Humility is certainly a characteristic that every time I see you carry yourself well, but certainly with an air of humility.
I'm humbled by the fact, and I say this, I've said it on several occasions. The fans of that song, they believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. So I have to embrace them because I didn't think that song was going to do what it did.
So let me ask you this: you referred to some members of your family. You have brothers and a brother and a sister. Was that correct?
Yeah, I got two brothers.
Two brothers.
And but my sister's deceased.
Your sister, may she rest in peace.
Me and my brothers, we're not close at all.
Okay.
We're not. I was the middle son.
Were they ever fans of your?
Oh yeah. In fact, here's a crazy story.
Yes.
When we recorded "Move Your Body,"
yes,
because of how it was presented, we was at work, and I wasn't crazy about it. And So you know how you do stuff like that. Oh man, I went in the studio to record this. Never said one word about it because I wasn't pleased with it.
Okay.
But my brother, because he knew I was a DJ,
Yes.
every time I saw him, he said, dude, it's this song that they play. Every time they play it, people go crazy. He never said what they were saying in the track. He never said nothing. So when Move Your Body came out, we all went down to Trax Records and got copies. So when I came home, I played it for my mom. This was right before Labor Day, right?
Okay.
So I played it for her. Me and my mom was the only one in the house. I played it for her. She's like, oh, I like that, Curdy. I like that. So Memorial Day, the family was over.
Yeah.
After we got done eating, my mom said, Curdy, play your record for your grandmother. So my grandmother's listening. She's listening to all them old screaming vocals and stuff, right? So now when the piano solo came on, my brother comes running out the back of the house. He's like, that's the song. He's like, who made that? I said, I did. My brother did like this. Like,
he looked at you like,
and I mean,
sure.
And he went back to school.
Yeah.
And my brother made that song.
Oh, so he believed you?
Get out of here. No, right. Yeah, he believed me. He was like, man, get out of this. Man, we've been talking about that song for like 4 months. Now you come out.
That's your brother.
That's your brother. You know what I'm saying? So his buddy that was there with him, he's like, no, man. Like, that's his brother. He said, Kurt just laid back, man. He don't trip on stuff like that, right? So after I got done playing the song, my grandmother, she was sitting there tapping her fingernails on the couch, right? So my grandmother looked at me. She was like, oh, that's nice. She said, who is that lady singing? I said, Grandma, that's me. She's like, oh, you sound like a lady. So, because, my grandmother was used to You Never Find. She was used to singers like male singers like
some
that.
baritone.
Exactly. That's what she wasn't used to that screaming stuff from no man, And I was like, okay. But
the energy of Move Your Body, like I said, I didn't have to say it, but it's a genre-defining song, and certainly the performance associated with the song is certainly one in which helped carry the song to its global level of fame. And I know that there's a story, right, that you've told many times here on the Vintage House Show and other shows. We're just excited to see so much happening around the storytelling of this great genre of house music. But this isn't always a happy story. You said you were a DJ working in the post office. You had a group of friends there, and you all decided to go and make this song. But the song wasn't necessarily what you felt best showcased your vocals.
Right.
But through a series of events and players in this journey, right, it became a global hit.
It's crazy.
Take us through it, Curtis. Let's just go there.
Like I say, man, and this is why it humbles me, because the way they embraced me. I mean, everybody. I was the new kid on the block. Frankie Knuckles embraced me. Ron Hardy embraced me. I'm like, these guys is, you know what I'm saying? But okay, we're gonna go through the process of us recording Move Your Body.
Okay, what the studio, the year, instrumentation.
It was when I see, like I say, this is a lot of stuff that people don't know because Marshall don't mention these things in his interviews.
So Marshall Jefferson is one of the collaborators on right. Move Your Body, and in fact, his name appears on most of the releases
on
of
all
the song.
Of the releases, but nobody else's name.
This is one of the most re-edited and remixed songs out there. If you go to Beatport or Track Source, though, there's this long list of edits and remixes, and some of them have your name on them, and some of them don't.
Okay, now that was the thing. Okay, that was the new version.
Okay.
So, like I said, a lot of people don't know, but I walked away for 20 years. They don't know that because nobody knew who Curtis McClain was. So everything was Marshall Jefferson. Everybody was assuming that, okay, that's Marshall Jefferson singing Move Your Body, right? So when I walked away, and then I came back after 20 years, I got booked for a show. And I got the radio advertisement, saying Curtis McClain coming to perform Move Your Body, Ride the Rhythm, and Pleasure Control. So my niece called me up and she said, Uncle Kurt, they talking about you on the radio. I'm like, what they talking about, Trees? He said, well, Donnie Devo is trying to explain to people, because people was calling the radio station saying, I thought Marshall Jefferson made Move Your Body. And so Donnie Devo was trying to explain to him, saying, no, from my understanding, Marshall wrote it, but Curtis is the guy that actually sang it. So then when I did the actual show, then they was like, okay, this is the guy.
They connected.
Right, they connected to it and stuff. So, and that gave him 20 years to get out there and deceive the public, to become the mega person that he is. I don't mean to use your name.
It's an adverb.
Exactly, right. And, it was like, he had 20 years. And, when I came back after 20 years, he had this real arrogant attitude, like, hold on, dude, I know the truth, brother. I know why you where you're at.
Well, let's dial this conversation back just a bit to that point of comeback. What did your comeback consist of? 20 years has passed. You come back into the limelight of the public. Did you perform the song? Did you do interviews? How did that comeback take place?
Me and Harry went to the Chosen Few picnic, right?
Okay.
And the Doctors, who was a dance troupe.
Oh yeah, I remember the Doctors.
The Doctors got on stage to dance, right?
Yes.
Presented them, and they danced to Move Your Body.
Harry being Harry Dennis.
Harry Dennis, right. And when they put Move Your Body on, and I heard that this is like 30 years later.
Yeah.
And I heard that reaction, the same reaction that I heard when I went down to the music box when Marshall kept bugging me, talking about come down to the music box to see how they responded. The same reaction 30 years later. I'm like, what's going on?
Epic, massive, like eruption.
And that's when I said, you know what? I really think it's time for me to come back, man. I think it's time for me to, because I believe, and this is what I believe, I think the fans of that song would rather hear the artist come and perform it at a live PA than to see somebody DJ the song. Well, I'm not gonna say somebody, to see Marshall, who's supposed to be the artist, but you getting DJ gigs off of something that I think the fans would appreciate the actual artist coming to perform it. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a reasonable expectation that the audience, the consumers of this music would have. But this is not the first instance of an artist, vocalist, producer, remixer, DJ, right, taking the song and placing themselves at the forefront of the song's performance. We've had some more mainstream. I mean, this song itself has made it very mainstream. But I think of like Black Box and others,
Exactly.
Right where this phenomenon has occurred. Can you talk about the business of music and why these kinds of circumstances arise, particularly around dance music?
Well, because I believe, because like I say, it's a producer, the producer, the DJ, those are the ones that's out in the forefront. But it does an injustice to the actual artist because, especially if the producer or the DJs got their name on it and they don't mention the actual artist, because, that keeps a person working. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It keeps a person working. And it's like when nobody knows who the artist is, and, all you might see is, oh, Louis Vega this and nothing else, you don't know who to get in contact with. You know what I'm saying? And then that cuts that person out of making a living because the offers would come to that person that's featured
Yes.
not the DJ that produced it or whatever. You know?
Let me ask you a tough question, because in an interview with friend of the Vintage House Show and running his own show these days, everything house music, Maurice Joshua, shout out Mo.
Mo.
He did an interview with you recently, and one of the questions that I'm not sure if he asked, but you all talked about management, but I don't know if he asked, so I'm going to ask you, did you ever think about getting a manager besides the visit you made to Dwayne Powell's office and the back and forth you had with him? Where was your representation to get you into a position that the offers would be coming to you?
Well, I didn't make it. I didn't have representation because Marshall was at the forefront of everything. You know, he was the one handling the business. So I'm thinking that he's speaking on the behalf of everybody that was on Movie.
Trust. There was a trust
and that
element
was
there.
My fatal mistake. Trusting that guy when that guy never had anybody's best interest. It was about him. And like I say, Larry Sherman. Oh, I told Larry Sherman to put the group's name on there. He put Marshall's name on there. All that was designed by Marshall.
Now, look, I'm not going to make any excuses for anyone, but I will ask the question. Fame. I mean, again, I'm talking to a humble Curtis McClain sitting next to me here. But Fame has been known to do some funny things to people, right?
Yeah.
You and Marshall, are you friendly now? You were certainly friends when you were working at the post office.
You know what, Mega? I'm not gonna say that because you know when people have a problem with me,
yeah,
and Marshall's always had a problem with me. He was so competitive. I mean, he would compete with me on everything, man. I mean, it was like when I got him into DJing, he volunteered our services for a young lady that worked on the machine next to us, a birthday party.
Okay.
So, oh yeah, when me and Dude will DJ your birthday party. So we get to the birthday party. I go on first. I do the first hour. You go on dance floor dancing, right? I'm like, all right, man, come on, do your thing. He gets on the decks. 15 minutes later, he comes to me, dude, you got to get back on the turntable. Ain't nobody dancing. Come back, put my first song on. Everybody's back on the dance floor. Okay. So my buddy, Brian, who was another 60659, he says, when we came back to work, he says, oh, man, how did the party go? And I'm like, oh, it went nice. He said, well, how did Marshall do? So I told him that story I just told you.
Yeah.
He says, oh, you know, he set that show up so he could battle you, right? Like, are you serious? I mean, he had been DJing maybe 2 weeks. I've been DJing since the 70s. What you think? You was going to do something overnight and you going to, I mean, everything, man, this guy. And don't let it come to women, man. That was, come on, dude. You really fighting a losing battle now.
Uh-oh. We got another whole dimension because, you know, the house community and experience has been a lot of about the social, right?
Right.
Going to parties, meeting people, whether you're a member of the gay community or you're heterosexual. It was, I got to show up,
exactly,
be present, and pull the most numbers and bring my A game.
I was never that guy though, Omega. I was never that guy. I was so laid back. No. I was so laid back. We go like to the copper box too, right?
Yeah.
And everybody in the crew grabbed the female sitting at the table.
Okay.
I'm all hollering at the females, and I'm just laid back like. And every time,
hope y'all got that pose.
Right. You know, it was like, you know, they would be holding a conversation with, you know, the young lady that they had picked in the club, and I'm just sitting there chilling. And you know, once they addressed the question, they would look at me like, "Hey, what's up with you?" And you know, and it was like the females was like, you know, I piqued their interest, just not being thirsty acting. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so, right.
You know, and it was like, you know, them guys, man, it was like, and then one of the guys who were hanging out with us, you know, was like, man, you know, are you so successful with the women, man? You know, he gave a few points.
You didn't give it all.
No, I didn't give it all because,
right.
But then if I had to give it all, you know, it's like this is not something that you learn from somebody. You have to live this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have to do trial and error with this.
That's
you know
right.
What I'm saying?
Live and
that's
learn.
my trial and error. You know, every female that I ever messed with, I learned something from that woman. So I knew if I did something messed up, okay, don't take that into the next relationship. After about my fourth or fifth girlfriend, they was like, you know what, you did everything right.
My man. This is the story for those of you just tuning in here on WNUR and the Vintage House Show. We're here with the Curtis McClain. He's sharing a bit about his life in the span of tonight's 1 hour show, but we're getting to know Curtis McClain. We know the song, right? Most of us know a little bit about the story, but this is the opportunity to get to know Curtis.
Exactly.
The player.
I like this. I like it because, you know, it's like, you know, when people meet you musically,
yes,
you know, they want to meet you personally. You know, it's like
absolutely.
when I do stage shows, I always try to interact with the people to let them see, you know, my aura, you know, my personality. Is he funny? You know, is he, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, I come to entertain. And, you know, I tell my boy Harry, like, come on, dude, you got to step your game up, brother. It's like, you know, I said, I've never heard you say hi to the people. I'm like, come on, man, they want to see you, you know, who you are personally. You know what I'm saying? They know your music.
Yeah.
But they want to see what type of guy you are. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's crazy, man, because, you know, I can be comical when I'm not even trying to be comical. You know what I'm saying?
All right,
like,
he's got a sense of humor.
Right.
Humble, but humorous.
Exactly. And people, and I'll say something, a person will say something to me, and I might just respond and just start busting up. I'm like, what's so funny? You know, it's the way you said that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know.
And your power of connecting to the crowd, you've had the opportunity to tour the world with this song and others. You've got certainly a repertoire of songs. Talk a little bit about the touring and some of your other favorite songs like Pleasure Control.
But now the touring part, right?
All right.
When we went, I wasn't really crazy about the UK because it was so gloomy, and I don't know what that stuff was that they was calling ground beef, but I don't know what it was, man. So it was like I couldn't wait to get back to the States, man, so I could give me a good hamburger, man. But it was just something about, you know, the glue, you know, the sun didn't shine. It was there for 21 days. The sun did not shine one day. And, you know, I'm used to sunshine. I'm like, oh, it's sunshine, blue sky. You know, I'm looking. So, so I couldn't wait. The most fun I had was when we did the shows. I couldn't wait till we got on stage, man. That was the most fun that I had doing the performances over there and stuff, you know. But now the music.
Yeah.
Pleasure Control. That was pretty. But my song was Give Me Back the Love.
Give Me Back the Love.
Give Me Back the Love.
Because that was the voice that you always wanted to
Give
deliver.
Me Back the Love.
That's smooth.
I love Give Me Back the Love.
That is a soulful joint.
But I didn't. I don't know who did the mix on that.
Yes. Okay.
It was horrible. You know. But I love Give Me Back the Love.
So for the remixers out there, that's an opportunity, right, to put your foot and Give Me Back the Love, the 2023 edition. I think we may have to get in the lab,
right,
do a little something there. But question coming from our listeners, DJ Purple, wondering which version of Move Your Body really sounds better between the DJ International mix, the 24 tracker, or the Trax Records version.
The Trax Records version was horrible. It was horrible. But I think that's the reason why it became such a big hit, because
It was
that
raw.
rawness.
Yeah.
It was that rawness.
Yeah.
And when you keep stuff, when you sweeten stuff up too much, you know, you lose the rawness, and people relate to raw. DJ International version was pretty sonic. You know what I'm saying? It was mastered a whole lot better than the Tracks Records version and stuff. You know, but yeah. So
we got one volunteer from our listeners already. Lee Williams says, "Give me them stems for give me some love. Give me back the love."
Okay.
And
I'm gonna record those stems, but I'm gonna re-record them, man.
There you go, Lee.
Right.
Way to make the connect on the show.
Lee.
And we thank everyone that is tuned in listening tonight, including Jackie Brooks, who's joined us as well.
Hey, Jackie.
And all of our listeners. And I want to shout out one of the Vintage House Show interns that's in studio with us, helping to keep us on track and on target. Shout out to Justice.
All right, Justice.
With a Justice. Throw up your hand back there. And for those listening on WNUR, Justice is in the building. So we're here again for those just tuning in with Curtis McClain, just getting the story, the who is Curtis McClain. What would be one thing you would want our audience to know about you that they may not already know?
That I'm a loner. I am a loner.
There was that awkward silence there.
No, I mean, you know, I'm the type of person, you know, I used to listen to like philosophies and, you know, they say people that, you know, ride around all the time with their radio on, you know, those are people that are afraid to be by themselves and stuff. I never turn my radio on.
Interesting.
But there's a reason for that, because I hear stuff in my head that when I'm creating music, a lot of times it's like when I'm just, you know, downtime and just sitting up with nothing distracting me, that's when I come up with my music, you know.
So Curtis McClain is a current writer. He's a loner, right. And that he's a humble guy and humorous. Right. Again, I want you all to be taking notes on this masterclass that is the class on Curtis McClain, because he is iconic. Let's just go ahead and give it up for him. The song, I've said it several times in this interview already. It has been genre defining, and I thought it important. I'm glad I have this platform, the Vintage House Show. But whenever I see Curtis out, you know, it's just something that says to me, we gotta let the world know who this great guy is that happened to be the vocalist on you know, this epic track. So that's part and parcel to why you're here. Yes, I'm fanboying a little bit, but also giving him his flowers while he's here and respect.
You know, like I say, man, I'm an appreciative guy, man. Anybody that, you know, shows me the love that I've received from, you know, and I used to tell people, you know, I'm a likable, lovable guy. You know, it's like,
yes, sir.
But, you know, it's like sometimes you meet people, and I never like to be introduced as Curtis McClain, the guy that sings movie. But just introduce me as Curtis. Now, if they find out along the way, then that's another story.
Yes.
But, you know, sometimes people are like, oh, you know, that's the guy that sings movie. They look at you in a different light. You know what I'm saying?
Certainly.
So I want you to get to know it, because
the authentic Curtis.
Exactly. Right? I want you to get to know me.
There you go.
You know, without that stigma that, oh my God, this is the guy that sings movie. No. Curtis. And then, like I say, a lot of people that I've met, you know, come in with their ulterior motives, like, oh, it's the guy that sings Move Your Body and stuff. You know what I'm saying? No, but and then they're blown away of how humble I am. But then, like the little females that bark up your tree when you ain't interested, oh, you think you all that, because no, I've always been choicy. I've always been choicy.
There
you know
it
what I'm
is.
saying? I don't. That's. I didn't get into the music for that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm quite sure that they probably think, oh, you know, you turning this down. You know, who are you?
So we've gotten to know a little bit about the ins and outs of Kurt. We call him Kurt now. You see how this interview has evolved, right? We went from the human GPS to Kurt,
right?
And a lot in between. But one of the things I want to ensure you have a chance to do is here in 2022, soon to be 2023. What can our audience expect from Kurt?
Expect some new music.
Okay.
I'm in the process. I've got these brothers that I'm working with right now. Stephen Bonds, Dalvin Ross, Robert Bond. I got a few people that I'm working on stuff with.
Okay.
I'm ready to work with my boy.
Go ahead, drop it. We love exclusives here on the Vintage House Show.
Dave Britton. I'm going to do some stuff with Dave Britton.
All right.
And, I'm just, because the only producer that I've ever really worked with was Marshall.
Marshall Jefferson. Shout out, Marshall.
I've always worked with Marshall. I've never stepped outside of that. And I'm ready to, like I say, I have music that I've created, but it's the idea. I'm not a finisher. I don't know how to finish a song. But I give you the meat and potatoes, the groove part that when you hear it, you're like, oh, like write this cut called Something's Missing. And when I play it for people, man.
That's an appropriate title, sounds like.
Something's missing, something's missing, there's something that's missing. And when they hear it, you got to hear the music. The music is straight disco.
Okay.
Disco.
So you're staying with the genre.
Well, I
in the dance domain.
But this is where I come from, man. It's like I come from old school.
Yes.
So that's only, I don't.
It's only appropriate.
Exactly. So my thing is, once I get the track done, I want to do something that I'm comfortable with, and vocally, where I got my flow. It was just really hard for me. Marshall's arrangements didn't agree with me.
Okay.
Move Your Body was a fool. You know what I'm saying? It really, as far as, but, it's like, sometimes his lyrics can get too wordy, you know what I'm saying? And then you have to go in and be like, okay, do I stretch this out? Do I cut it off? So, I want to do stuff that
fits your profile and sort of the way you run.
Exactly.
Through
because
the lyrics.
I remember going to see the Commodores, and I was so close in my seat. You can see a person's slob.
Yeah, that spray of air, that same spray that was causing COVID and all that stuff
I was so close.
Spread. Yeah,
I was so close. Lionel Richie, big fan. Lionel Richie is the reason why I started back singing.
Oh, okay. We got some more news.
Right. He's the reason why, because
more inspiration.
I woke up one morning when I was a kid. I guess I was going through puberty. And I woke up and I couldn't sing. Got to be there. Got to be. And I couldn't hit that note, right?
Mike, yeah.
Right. So when I got in high school, okay, I took up guitar because my parents supported me. And anything that I wanted to do. Because, like I say, I was on a roll student. I was a good kid.
Yes.
So they supported me.
With good values.
They had high expectations of me. Exactly.
Yes.
So when I found out, I thought I had lost my voice, I took up guitar. And so when I got in high school, I used to walk through the hallways and I used to say, I've been through so many changes in my life. I've been up real high where I would do that monologue just to be close to you. And I would stop. I did that for like months. And one day, man, I said, just to be close to you. And I started singing ever since. And he was the reason. So I was a real big fan of the Commodores. So I went to see the Commodores on the Heroes tour. And I'm looking at Lionel, man, and it was like, he was up there like, I'm in love with the plain old-fashioned girl. He looked like he was just up there talking, man.
It was so natural.
It was so natural, man. I was like, he don't even look like, you know how you see that,
Right.
come on, dude. It don't
Doing
take all
too
of that
doing
shit.
too much, as the
Exactly.
kids say.
You overdoing it. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw that, I was like, wow, this brother just looked like, hello, honey, this is your lucky day. And I'm like, no grimaces,
no diaphragm strains.
none of that. And that's why I said, you know what?
Yeah.
But that's what I had to do with Marshall stuff. And I'm like, this ain't natural for me. You know what I'm saying? This is not natural for me. So that's why I said, if he had to just never gave me a melody line to anything, a lot of that stuff would have probably turned out a whole lot.
Come out sounding,
exactly. It sounds totally different.
Very
you know
different.
What I'm saying? But he embeds his melodies in your head, and it's hard to get them out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, And then he won't collaborate with you. He didn't want to collaborate with nobody in the group because he wanted everything Marshall Jefferson.
Can you give me 1 second here, because we're at the top of the hour. WNUR 89.3 FM and HD1, Evanston, Chicago. You're tuned in to the Vintage House Show. We're here with Curtis McClain. Kurt, please share with us, and you're breaking down some very interesting techniques and dynamics associated with the craft of making a song and working with a producer. And it totally makes sense that you want to get to a place where you're with producers that leverage your organic sound. But talk about some of the you talked about the group. You keep referencing the group. Talk about the group. Give us the names of some of your other co-collaborators who were part of Move Your Body and other songs that you did.
Okay, well, we had Tom, T.C. Roper, Carr. A lot of people don't know he was a part of On the House.
On the House was the name of the group,
and Tom was the name of the group.
Tom
T.C. Fix It Man. Y'all probably know Tom T.C. Roper as Fix It Man. I'm your Fix It Man with my tool in my hand. That was Tom Carr.
Tom Carr.
Okay, Rudy Forbes. The Ride the Rhythm. He was the bass.
All right,
Rudy.
Rudy.
The piano solo at the intro of Ride the Rhythm.
Ride the Rhythm.
Yep. He was the keyboard.
Okay.
That played solos on both songs. We were all creative, man. We were all creative. And Marshall only wanted to record his music. And then don't let us be in the studio working on something. Marshall's gonna come over and run over and take it over, man.
What were some of the studios you worked out of? Because this was the 80s when you were
Streeterville, Chicago Tracks. It's been so long ago, what was the one down on Ohio?
Ohio and Grand.
Right, Ohio and Grand, right. I mean, right in that area there.
Yeah, in the River North. River North. Yeah, Streeterville. Well, Streeterville's a little further north.
Right, okay.
Now they call it River North or whatever.
Right. We the Paragon, you know what I'm saying? And, we Lito's 8-track basement studio, right. So, we were kind of like, especially Chicago Tracks, we did a lot of recording down there.
Okay. By the way, Ohio and Grand run parallel.
Right,
so
exactly. Right.
But come on, GPS, man. Help me out.
Right.
It's late.
Right. But we did a lot of stuff in big studios. That in fact that's where Studio Ohio Players used to record.
Oh yeah. How about that old story, the urban myth that they used to tell about how the album covers for the Ohio Players were made? I think Honey and Fire, and we could hear some woman screaming, losing her life.
Right.
Those were the days. Great memories. Great time tonight with Kurt McClain.
Thank you for having me.
The humble, humorous GPS excellent driving. And he happens to be the singer on the vocalist on many a house classic. Quick question that just came in: what influence did Frankie Knuckles have on you?
Well, Frankie, I didn't. I mean, my uncle used to talk about Frankie because my uncle lived in New York when Frankie lived out in New York.
Okay.
And I used to hear stories about Frankie Knuckles long before I met him.
Yeah.
And then when I met him, you know, it was like I say, I knew nothing about house music. So it was nothing that really influenced me with house music because, like I say, I got slung into it almost, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And it was like, you know, when I came in, I was a new kid on the block, you know, they embraced me. And I was like, wow, you know. And it was a humbling experience, man, because like I say, they believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And that's where I was like, I'm totally blown away. And then, like I say, after 6 months, you know, seeing the crowd, you know, I'm like, okay, I can see 6 months from now that somebody's saying, move your body. Oh yeah, I do that cut. Not 37 plus years later, man, people still, you know what I'm saying? This is amazing, man.
It has been an amazing phenomenon, and the show wouldn't be complete without listening to a little bit of "Move Your Body." We are WNUR 89.3 FM and HD1, Evanston, Chicago. You're tuned in to the Vintage House Show. And we're here every Wednesday night starting at 10 p.m. Sometimes we go past the 11 o'clock hour. Of course, we're here with the iconic Curtis McClain. So we are taking a little liberty to do that. We're going beyond 11 o'clock. We're just going to play Move Your Body, the house music anthem, featuring the vocals of Curtis McClain and On the House, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
Right.
Go. Thank you, Maker. Yeah. Give On the House a shout out over me.
So let's get into it. All right. So you said your grandma said, "Who's that woman?"
Right.
Yeah.
It's gonna set you free. Set you free. It's gonna 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 set you free.
All right, I see you dancing over the internets, Jackie Brooks. Get it, girl, get it. May have to get out of my seat.
Right.
Y'all don't want to see me dance. I used to be part of a little small, lesser-known dance crew called the Punk Brigade. Back in the day,
Okay.
we would watch what happened at Mendel, and then when the party sort of spread out beyond the bi-level disco to like Quigley South and St. Albie's, then we got our groove on.
Okay.
All right, those of you tuned in on our live stream, which song of Curtis's would you like to hear next? We got time for one more to get in. Just drop it in the comments and we'll get it played. Of course, DJ Purple in first with Pleasure Control. He read my mind, didn't he? All right. We gotta get to the bridge. Here we go.
Rock your body, rock your body, rock your body, rock your body, move 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 your body, rock your body, rock your body, rock your body.
All right.
What did you say?
Now this, you know what? This was a straight demo.
We got the raw version.
You got the this. First we heard of it.
Yeah.
And I'm messing around, not knowing he gonna say this crazy stuff, right? And I'm like, okay, this is for us to get comfortable with it. I had to even take it down to Ron Hardy. When Ron Hardy was playing it, man, however they responded, man. He's like, dude, what is he doing, man? But this was pretty big for us, man. This was pretty big for us back when it came out. And they said nobody beat it the way Ron did.
I'm sure.
Had to go to the music box
To hear it played.
You say you wanna leave me forevermore, but if that's what you think, then maybe you don't know the score. No matter where you go, I'll be on your mind. 'Cause a sweeter love than this, you will never find. I've got your passion control. Nobody knows what is wrong. I've got a whole one soul, and I'll never let you go. I'm never gonna let you go. I'm never
Gonna let
you go.
I don't know why I'm trying to sing. Yeah, for this, sing along moment, y'all. I see y'all at home singing along.
We used to set him up with this, man. I got a story about a young lady who was in Jersey, man. She performed it. Asked her to get in the limo with us, right? Beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
beautiful. You want me to sing Pleasure Control?
Right.
Oh, dude, out there, we're gonna let you go. I started singing, man. Tears just started welling up in the eyes.
Music that moves you. I love that story. Yes, Jackie Brooks, working it. Kurt, we are honored to have had you on the show.
Thank you, Mega. Thank you for having me, brother.
Thanks, everyone.
when I get my new music, man.
Absolutely. We want an exclusive. We want to help break it right here on the Vintage House Show. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to tonight's episode with Curtis Move Your Body McClain.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for tuning in, guys.
Your main man, Mega. Reggie says, why am I singing along? You aren't alone, Reg. We're here again every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Next week, I believe we may be back with DJ Mo Mommy. I think she and Lori Branch have swapped. So we'll have an episode of The Spotlight on next Wednesday's episode. And then following that, DJ Lori Branch will be back with a great show. And we'll close out the holiday season with some special surprises and maybe some, in case you missed them, episodes. We'll replay them for you as we enjoy the holidays with our families. But thank you all again for supporting the Vintage House Show. Remember, in case you missed this show, check it out again on the Vintage House Show Facebook Live page, YouTube, thedjchannel.com, on twitch.tv, the Vintage House Show, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Your main man Mega signing off. It's late. Kurt, thank you, brother.
Thank you, Mega.
All right,
brother.
We're taking you out with Pleasure Control.
See, all of that was Marshall don't throw away nothing.
Loving it. Of course, shouting out our super duper executive producer, Lauren Lowry, my co-host, Lori Branch. Shout out to the Vintage House Show team. We have such an incredible team these days. In studio, Justice, our intern for the semester, DJ Mo Mommy, DJ Rocky Floyd, DJ Carl Jenkins, and everyone who's ever worked with and supported the Vintage House Show, fam. We appreciate y'all. All right, Carl. What's up, Carl Branch? Thanks for tuning in, man. Be on the lookout for some holiday mix sessions coming from your main man, Mega. I've been practicing, y'all. I'm doing a Curtis McClain. I'm coming back. DJ Mega on the ones and twos. Stay tuned. Look out, y'all. In fact, I may be a backup DJ for Kurt when he's out on that next European global tour. We're going to make something happen, y'all. Oh, yeah. Till next time, stay safe, give thanks, and be humble.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
All right, we're out.